Yeah, looking forward to this week. Texas A&M, they're coming off a bye week. Very good team, so I got a chance to look at those guys a little bit. But just a recap from the Ole Miss game. Proud of our team. I thought we played physical in that game, and we overcame some things that were self-inflicted, so we responded properly. And then, our defense played really well in the red zone and in those fourth down situations. So players of the game, on offense, Bo Nix. Defense was Zacoby McClain. Our O lineman of the game was Nick Brahms, and our D lineman of the game was Colby Wooden. And then our special teams player of the game was Ladarius Tennyson. And then I saw today Zacoby McClain was the SEC co-defensive player of the week, and Colby Wooden was the SEC defensive lineman of the week. So congratulations to them. Both played really well. The atmosphere Saturday night was great. You could feel that. So everything that went on, just the whole stadium experience, obviously the way the game went was very positive for us. So much appreciated from our fans, and certainly I know our players were excited about that. And, that's one of the great things about playing at Auburn is you're going to have that type of support and that type of atmosphere. And it was good to go out there and play some good football against a good team. This week, Texas A&M traveling, so we got to deal with that. We're going to play in another environment. We'll have a great crowd, and certainly, I think it's the fourth largest stadium in the country, so they've got the capacity. They've been playing well, and from what I've seen, and always do, I think Coach Fisher does a great job with his teams. They're well prepared. And you got to make sure during the week that, you're getting yourself ready for a variety of different things. They're going to game plan you. So, for us, we just have to make sure that we take care of the things that we have to get better at. We continue to study our opponent and then prepare ourselves through the week and take advantage of all that time in our preparation. So just train and prepare and have ourselves ready to go on Saturday at 2:30. Some of the personnel, Zach Calzada, the quarterback, really good. Guy can spin it, and he's shown that. And so I think from what I've seen, this guy's he's a really good player. He's got good vision, throws the ball well, and does a good job leading their offense. They got two tailbacks, and these guys can go. Really good receivers as well. Spiller and Devin, both those guys are really good. And just looking at their stats, from what they did in the pass game as well, those guys stand out. So good runners, really good in the pass game, and both guys that, we got to be prepared for and we're going to see in the game. And then Smith, their wide receiver, so he's leading them with 31 catches, and he's really good. So does things on special teams as well. So these guys are explosive on the offensive side, and they're going to put you in a position where you got to, make sure you understand what you're doing on the defensive side and your rules, and then play at a fast pace, just with the way that they're able to explode on the offensive side. So defensively, really good. They got 8 returning starters on defense, second in the SEC in scoring defense. These guys have done well with sacks. They're playing really well on D. Done a good job on third downs. So guys that stand out there, Leal, their D tackle. This guy was a preseason All-American first team. Hansford, their linebacker, 55 tackles. So he's all over the place, plays fast. O'Neal Jr., their free safety, 33 tackles, got a couple INTs, 5 pass breakups. These guys are making plays on the defensive side, and they're all over the place. So they've done a good job with getting those guys in position to make those plays, but I'm sure these guys have worked really hard to do that. So really good on that side of the ball as well. Special teams all around, very solid. They're explosive. They got returners that can go, that you got to be prepared for, so you got to cover. We're going to get multiple looks, from their punt team and in some different areas. So we just got to be on point on special teams. And that was an area for us in the last game. We had some penalties. We put the ball on the ground, so We did not play as clean of a game on special teams as we wanted to. So we were fortunate to win the game, but there were too many penalties and just too many self-inflicted issues that we got to correct. And that'll be our focus this week as we go into practice on Tuesday, cleaning all those things up, getting better on O&D and making sure that we're taking care of the football, we're tackling, we're doing the things that we feel are going to help us win. We're taking care of the little things on special teams consistently, and then having our hopefully best week of practice to go play against a really good team. So with that, questions?
First question today is from John Cedar.
Go ahead, John. Or not.
There, John. All right, we'll skip ahead to Michael Giddens.
Hey, Coach, you've talked repeatedly about starting fast on offense. You guys were able to do that Saturday, but things kind of slowed down offensively in the second half. What's your assessment of your second half offensive flow, and what things are you looking to improve going into a Texas A&M environment? And they've got the second best scoring defense in the conference.
Yeah. Well, we did start fast in the game, and everything in the second half. We were moving the ball, just not as consistent as we were early on, and to me, that's part of that was Ole Miss making adjustments. Part of that was us missing some opportunities that I thought we had. But overall, you got to, you're always thinking about playing a total game on the offensive side in particular, and, all three phases, but a total game on the offensive side so you can be effective when you get opportunities to have the ball in your hands. And we did early on. We did not in the second half. We kind of controlled it a little bit, but we didn't put points on the board like we did early on. So it's just consistency. It's also, you got to make the plays when there's opportunities to make them. We got to put our guys in the best position so we stay ahead of the chains at times. I thought we got a little bit behind in the second half of the game, but you're right. You play against a team like A&M, you got to execute. So you have to have yourself ready, which I thought we did, but you got to be consistent throughout the game. And, every drive you get, we got to execute the plays that are called. We got to give them the best plays to execute. And, we got to find ways to move the ball as down the field, and once we get in the red zone to finish those drives. I would say this, I thought going into the half, that drive we had right before the half was one of the best I've seen. So our guys did an excellent job of executing that. The time left on the clock was perfect. Coach Bobo did a good job of calling that series. So we just got to be more consistent at the end of the day. And our guys know that. That's not something that's going to be new for them, but we're going to have to work on it again this week.
All right, we'll go back to John Cedar.
Hey, Coach. Hopefully the microphone is working this time.
Gotcha.
What has changed or clicked for Bo Nix since that Georgia State game? And he seemed to not only handle that the way you'd want, but he sustained it ever since.
Yeah, I think like a lot of our guys, I think more players on this team are showing some consistency week to week. And I've said it before, Bo is always prepared well. He works hard, so it's never been that. And I also think it's guys around him too. I mean, at the quarterback position, it's not just you; it's the guys around you. You have to have protection. You got to have, a decent run game that will help you. You got to have wideouts that are going to make plays and can catch the ball. So I don't know if it's so much just one guy as it is multiple players just improving their game and being more consistent weekly. And Bo's going to be a recipient of that. Being at the quarterback position. And there's plenty of things for him too. He's still got his deals every week that we work on and focus on, and just like everybody else. But I think the consistency of his preparation, his practice habits, the guys around him, those have all gotten better. And so I think that shows up that, your quarterback's going to look better out there. And the other part with Bo is, he shows up every single week. I think in his preparation too, all the behind the scenes stuff that nobody sees, he's improving on that as well. It's just, it's maturity, it's playing the game, it's being in this offense now and kind of figuring out how it really is going to look at times. And that just takes time. But his effort, everything else you want from a player has always been there. And now just as we go through it, guys around him, himself, just getting better at what we're doing.
Brian Stoll.
Ryan, first, happy birthday. Hope you enjoyed the day. Second, you always preach this 1-0 mentality. After a big win like this against Ole Miss and a great atmosphere and things like that, how do you kind of flip the script and focus on what's to come at Texas A&M and keep the players focused on the task at hand?
Yeah, just watch the film. I mean, really, just pop on the film and watch Texas A&M. If that doesn't have their attention, we're going to get beat. Simple as that. They're a good football team, and we're working every day to get, like you said, yeah, it's an everyday thing. It is a process through the season where everything that we do, Sunday is important for this reason. And Sunday leads into Monday, and Monday leads into Tuesday. Like, they all kind of lead into each other. And if you don't maximize the opportunities that we have to prepare and get better at certain things throughout the week, it's going to show up in the game. And it showed up in the Ole Miss game, too. If you skip a step here and there, some things show up. They always do. Football will humble you. That's the one thing that I think we all need to know is football will humble you, and you need to prepare every single week. You have a new opponent. We do some things the same way week in and week out, but it's kind of that routine versus commitment a little bit. We're going to do it. It's just, is it just routine, or are we going to be committed to doing it and trying to get better at it? And that's really the challenge. I don't think that's a football thing. I think that's kind of just in life every day, right? You wake up, you have a purpose, you want to get better at something, you work at it, and at the end of the day, you feel like you've accomplished something, and you feel fulfilled, like you got some things done. So that's what we're trying to do each and every day is just, make those little strides. And our opponent is different. This opponent is very good, just like our last opponents. And there's a lot that we have to prepare for to make sure that we can go out there and play our best football this season. And if we don't do that during the week, it's not going to magically just happen on Saturday.
Jordan Hill.
Brian, we didn't see Romello Height or Caleb Johnson on Saturday. I just want to see if you had an update on either one of those guys.
I really don't right now. We'll see how this week goes and the next few weeks.
Bill Cameron.
You mentioned some special teams problems, and lately it's been a struggle in the return game, both kickoffs and punts. What kind of guidelines, parameters are there for fair catching or bringing the kickoffs back, and could we see any personnel changes?
Yeah, we could see all three of those, actually. As many penalties as we had on kickoff return, we were ready to fair catch it, which is not our mentality. But for whatever reason, Ole Miss just kicking our butt, or we just sucked at some of the stuff that we were doing flat out. It's after a while, like, you want to bring it out, you want to be aggressive, you want to give your guys a chance to return it. That's why you spend all that time in practice to go out there and do those things. But if we're going to keep making those same mistakes, we'll just fair catch it. Don't block anybody, just fair catch it, take it to 25, we'll be better off. Punt return, we work very hard at catching the football and giving our guys a chance. And that's an area that we just got to get better. We got to get better in our return game. I think it goes back to 100% how we practice, 100% how we prepare, or the lack thereof of guys studying special teams. I don't think guys study special teams like they need to. And that's an opportunity for us to go change the game, to go make big plays on teams. And I don't think we get the time away from the meetings that we have that we need for guys to really be great in those areas. And guys need to step up. They need to watch more film. They need to study, and we need to be better at those techniques in practice if we're going to make any improvements in those areas.
Nathan King.
Hey, Bryan, for you as, having called plays throughout your career, just what kind of evolution have you seen from Mike Bobo this season? And how much easier is it for a play caller when you get those first few games to kind of get a feel for the personnel you've got?
Yeah, well, I'll say this. Bobo's called plays. He's done this before. This is not his first time. So I think it's important as a new play caller for a team, you got to figure out, what can your guys handle? And that's really, you don't know that till you go out there and play. And so as the season went on, we saw some guys that we probably needed to move positions and put them in a better spot where we could maximize their ability. And then, we probably had some guys in there that didn't need to be in those spots. So, but you don't know that until you play. Who's going to perform on game day, and you see that when you get into the games, and then you kind of know how this guy operates. Because some things that look really good in practice didn't look great in the games. And the guys that look good in practice and then also look good in the games, those are the guys you're trying to make sure that are out there a little bit more. So to me, it was really just figuring that out. Who are the guys that prepare? Who are the guys that really take practice serious? Who are the guys that are going to go hard? And who are the guys that are going to be able to perform on game day? That as a play caller, you need to know that. That's why having a veteran team as a play caller is always a positive, because these guys have been through the fire and you know what to expect. We've never called plays in real games until this year with this group. So, it just takes a minute. And I also think too, as a play caller, your team evolves as well, and other guys get better. And so you also got to constantly be looking on your team who can help. And I think our offensive staff has done a good job of that. That's why we pulled some guys up from scout team. We've moved some guys around so we can get the best 11 on the field and get those guys that are truly preparing and competing in practice and improving in practice and do it the game. More opportunities when we go out there and actually play.
Philip Marshall.
How far has your offensive line come over the course of this season, and kind of what do you attribute that improvement to?
Yeah, they've gotten better. I don't know the exact percentage. They've improved. We've had different guys at the guard and tackle positions come in and play, which has been good. So we got a little bit of depth there. But I think a lot of it goes back to just repetition of what we're doing, practice habits, study habits, mentality. Coach Friend's done a good job with those guys. And, for example, in the Arkansas game, when Killian came in and played, he played well. And then this last game, Troxel was back and he played well. So you're kind of creating some depth, some competition, which is going to help that group. And, I did think we played physical in this last game, which is good. We're always trying to do that. And so we just got to continue with those things moving forward. And we'll really look back from the first game to the last game at some point and see how far along we came.
Justin Hokanson.
Hey, Coach. Wanted to ask you about these kind of crazy celebrations we've seen in the locker room with the water and the water bottles that have sort of escalated as you've won more games. What does it mean to you to see that excitement from a players as a first year coach, to kind of see them, whether it's buying in or whatever you want to call it? What is that like to see that happen?
Yeah, the whole buy-in. I think it's. I think that's genuine excitement for the work that we just put in on the field and we found a way to win. I think anytime you worked hard at something and you see a result that you wanted, I think that's exciting. And, at the end of the game, and that's just a little bit, get in the locker room and, it's a celebration, really a celebration from the Sunday all the way through that game. That's kind of how we do it. Everybody does it a little bit different. We throw water around, and I won't get into that too much, but that's something that our guys enjoy. But it's a celebration of our team because of the work we put in and guys on the field that made plays that we talked about making in practice. Those are the things that we see. Those are the things that we talk about. Hey, if they do this and we do this, we have a chance to make these kind of plays. And you see that happen. So throughout the game, there's all these little celebrations that happen throughout the game. And then when you're able to win one, that's just the accumulation of all those just emotions coming together in the locker room. And every single guy, too, especially a home game, you got guys on scout team that were doing things that week to help us win. You got guys that don't play as much, that have a couple plays in there that help us win, that are celebrating being a part of it as well. So to me, and the buy-in part of it, it really goes back to if we're willing to work, if we're willing to do things necessary to have a successful day, and we're willing to come back and do it again and show some consistency throughout the week, I think that celebration is more about, hey, if we can do these things and do them well, we have a chance to go out there and play good football, which is what we want to do every single week. And so that's a celebration of that. And your buy-in comes from that. Your buy-in comes from seeing results of putting in a lot of hard work, and then you get that win on Saturday. That's what you're celebrating, are those things. And that's the way, that's the way I think, I see it. That's the way I think guys in our team feel about, just, hey, this is what we got to do to be successful. We're going to celebrate it, enjoy it. And then, a lot of those things after the game are really important too. Celebrating with the guys and spending time with them and knowing that you put in a good week's work and you're able to get it done. Now we got to go do it again. So we'll enjoy it that night and we'll turn around on Sunday and come back to work.
Bennett Durando.
Hey, Bryan, I wanted to ask about Zacoby and Colby. You mentioned them getting SEC honors, and they were both involved in some of those big third down and fourth down stops in the red zone. Just what have you seen from them in terms of leading by example this year and how far they've come along?
Yeah, I think Zacoby does it every day. He loves football. There's no question about it. He's that way from when he walks into a meeting to the end of our game on Saturday. That starts on Sunday. So I love it. I love that mentality. I love that he prepares himself to go out there and play and really truly enjoys the game. Like, that's one thing, you watch Zacoby play, he enjoys the game. And, I enjoy the game. I enjoy watching him play. He was out there and he made some tremendous tackles. He played physical in that game. And, that's part of who we want to be. That's a big part of who we want to be. But, his part in that is critical, especially at the position that he plays. So, and I don't think, that's going to continue. And that's a lot to do with just him. He wants to be great. And he works at it. He prepares that way. And he does the things necessary to get himself in a position to go make plays like he did in the last game. Colby, much the same. Colby is, I think he's making a lot of plays up front in the D-line. I think he plays with really good technique. He plays hard. He's tough. And he does that throughout the week as well. So another guy that shows up every day. I think he's got an intensity about him when he gets in meetings, when he gets into practice, that shows up each day, and then obviously shows up come game time. So those are two examples of players that, in my opinion, prepare themselves and have a level of intensity that I think you need to be ready to go play so that you can go perform on Saturday. So when you step on that field that you're ready and you've done the work, you've done everything up to that point that you need to do, and this is about performing and going out there and playing your best football on game day. And anybody that does anything, if you want to be great at it, that's the formula. You got to have those things. You got to have that work ethic. You got to have that level of intensity, and then you got to be ready to perform. Because otherwise, if you don't do that, the moment gets too big, and all of a sudden, it's not about going out there and performing and having that edge to you. Now it's about being overwhelmed and having too much anxiety because you didn't prepare properly. So, that's what shows up, and that's why they get awards like this, because they do things a certain way, and you're going to get awarded. You're going to get awards like this. You're going to get recognized for things like this when you do things properly to get yourself ready to play.
Mark Murphy.
Yeah, Coach, could you talk about Oscar Chapman's punting? And I wanted to check to see how Zion Puckett's doing.
Yeah, Zion's, I think he's doing fine right now. I'll know more tonight. We have our meetings. We'll talk about that this evening. So don't really have anything for you there. Nothing season ending, so we'll see where he's at. And then you're asking about Oscar?
Yes.
Yeah, he's done it. Yeah, Oscar, he's been pretty consistent for us. He's been able to help us win the field position battle at certain times in the game when we get a chance to get him out there. And, he again, I know at the punter position, it's not one that you get to see all the time, but he does really prepare himself for practice. And the days that we do punt, he's on point. It's not just out there just punting the ball and hoping that it goes in the direction that you want it to, or hits the yard line or the area that you want it to. He's pretty locked in into doing those things the way we need him to do it. And he's very talented. That's one of the things too. I've never been a kicker. Have no idea how you can place a ball or kick a ball or do all those things like some of these guys do. And he's ultra talented when it comes to being able to punt it and place a ball and do some of the things that he does and have a little sense of urgency if he feels pressure and getting the ball out. So he's definitely a weapon and a guy that has helped us this season so far, and we're going to need that again. We're going to need the field position, so he's going to have to keep doing what he's doing.
Our last question, Coach, comes from Tobias Wilborn.
Oh, geez, no pressure. Hey, Coach, how you doing, man?
Good.
Good. Thanks for the time. Roger McCreary, he had a bunch of big plays in that game. What have you seen with him, not only in that game, but just overall as he continues to develop?
Yeah, again, just a level of intensity and focus that when he's preparing himself throughout the week shows up in the games. Again, another determined individual on this team that wants to improve, that wants to learn, that is still, in my opinion, and I've said this before, is still improving. I think he's seen, what he can do in games, and he's obviously made plays, and he's been very good for us. And now, all right, let's take the next step. What can Roger do now? What can he do better? Coming up this week, how can he spend a little bit more time, or what can he study to be a little bit more deliberate on what he wants to get done, or practice habits, whatever it is. Just a guy that's really trying to hone his craft and get better at it. And and I think too, just as a person and being on this team. His personality shows up, and there's a lot of positives from that standpoint. So, there's just a lot of little things over the course of, several months that he's getting better at. It's helped our team. It's showing up on Saturday, and at the same time, there's still more to come. There's still more that he can do, and as long as that still remains his focus, then. Expect him to keep getting better and making plays and improving on the position that he plays and helping our team go out there and win ball games.